want to start off talking about Sync Sketch. Now, I'm not being paid by anyone to promote it or anything. I just feel like this tool is super awesome for getting feedback or doing collaborative kinds of work. I don't know that I've ever really talked about it very much. I know I've shown it a lot in the videos, but I feel like it's kind of overdue to maybe go a little bit more in depth. So what is it? Well, they tout it here as real-time collaborative media review in the cloud. And basically what I and a lot of other animators use it for is to upload a shot in progress and get feedback. So like we were just looking at here, it's got super smooth playback. I can go backwards, forwards here. I can go frame by frame. I can, draw notes. And in addition to that, I could even up here type a comment if I want to further explain what I've sketched, or maybe I didn't sketch anything, but I just want to talk about something on that particular frame. And every time I dig into this, I'm finding there's something new. Like for instance, I'm looking here and they have a video chat feature now. Wasn't aware of that before. But here's what blew my mind a little while back actually here. If I click on this download, there's some really cool things that you can do here. You can download your original video. You can download that video with the sketches on top of it. You can download the review notes as a PDF. Now let's take a look at that real quick. So here's the PDF I downloaded on one of the shots here. And you can see it kind of lays it out like a storyboard, and it puts up the frames where there's drawings, and it writes out all of the areas where somebody has made comments. And just a really nice format and easily organized and nice to go through when you're trying to review your notes. And then you can download the sketches. I haven't actually tried that. I don't know exactly what that's going to do. But then this other one here is super cool. You can download a Maya grease pencil file. And what that's going to do is you can then go into Maya, open up your shot, and you can import this grease pencil file. And within, all integrated into Maya, now you're seeing all those drawings and notes in the Maya software while you're animating. Go to that frame and there's the notes, right? Say I go to this frame 153 and there's the notes. It's already within the Maya file. Now I'll let you take a look here at the features and the pricing, and I'll leave the link in the description below. But take a look what you get for this free account. You get 5 uploads per week and unlimited reviewers. I mean, that's just phenomenal. So anywho, back to my animations here. This was the shot and kind of where we left off last week, where the swordsman is, running through and chopping through, 3 enemies before he's ambushed by more enemies. And this is the next pass where I'm trying to refine the action. And as usual, I receive some great notes. And a lot of it was focused on the camera. So basically what needed to happen first is I needed to define that camera as best I could before I settled on the actual animation. And if I'll just point out a couple of things on this camera, first off, things that I probably wouldn't even have noticed. If you take a look here at this perspective of the inside of this column, as the camera moves, the perspective changes right there. Something I probably didn't even notice until the instructor pointed it out, and he said, take a look at your rotation Y on your camera because something isn't smooth there. Fix that and that's going to feel a lot better. So of course, whenever I fix something, I usually break something else. And if we take a look at this part, one of the notes on this camera was, if you look here on the previous one, he's too far down in the shot. He wanted the camera to lower and get a little bit closer to the character here. So I apparently went too far. and the biggest problem was, well, this horizon line here is much, much lower than it was, here. And he liked this horizon line here. He just wanted the character to be up in frame a little bit more. So what I need to do is find a happy medium for those two. The other problem with this framing is you really can't see the enemies as they're coming in. They're completely blocked by the character's body. Whereas in the previous version, it's much more open and a lot more clear as to what's going on. So we talked about some of the different directions that I could take this shot, but when it was all settled, what it needed was simplification. And the reason being is the fear would be the more complicated this shot gets, the longer it's going to take to get to a polish phase, and hence the longer then it's going to take before I can focus on another shot or get my demo reel going or, what have you. So how do we do that? How do we simplify? Well, the first thing is cut this third camera altogether. Just end it here. Ending it here also means cutting these extra 6 attackers. Forget about it. That's one way to simplify it, pretty significantly. Another thing is keep these bots stationary, much like they were in the previs. Don't have them come flying in or dropping in. We'll just have him run, choppy, 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 and have some cool pose at the end. The key being the selling point of this then is the really cool posing, and super tight action on the choppy, choppy bits. Another problem I had with this first camera is, the idea is this guy's running and then he decides to push a little further, or push a little harder and run faster and run out of frame. What I was told was, okay, that's all great and everything, but what you want is for the character to drive that action. What I have is, instead of the character really running out of frame, I have the camera stopping. It says keep that camera moving at a consistent speed and speed up the character. So in order to do that, I did a couple of run cycles. And this first one is your typical 16 frame run cycle, and that's how he'll start off. Then, when he gets all motivated and starts pushing himself harder, I just scaled that down to a 12 frame run cycle. So putting it all together, then this is what I'm ending up with. I'm still struggling with how I want to pose out the swordsman as he's playing choppy choppy, with these first 2 bots here. But I think I have a handle on how I want it to end. I want him to kind of, explode upwards through this last bot, and then he'll go off screen and land, and after he lands, then the bot will, separate in half wherever he was cut and fall to the ground, and then our swordsman will then sheath his sword in some kind of a super cool pose. So if I turn the sketches back on here, you can see I started making a bunch of notes here on how I might be able to punch up this shot, and what I was really struggling with was the composition here at the end. Is I wanted to keep all these bots in frame so that they could crumble and fall apart, but it was forcing me to do some things that I wasn't comfortable with. So I started thinking, well, how can I punch this up? And one idea I had was to have one of the bots fly, and he's chasing him in this first camera shot. And so that would just leave me with 2 bots here to deal with, and he could have them off screen after he chops them up, and then the last bot then circles around and comes back, and then he defeats him there. My instructor quickly reminded me that the idea was to simplify. So no flying bots. Cut that out and just make everything simple. And that's where I'm going to need to go next. Kind of a long video here this week. I'll keep at it if you do. Thanks for watching.